Come on. StreamYard, you piece of shit. Thank you. Oh my god.
Where was
Wasn't letting
Betty
me add
Davis?
us to the stream. Anyway.
Betty Davis clip wasn't there.
So I just count down, basically just get into it because I have had long days. So, I swear to God, my internet is driving me fucking nuts.
You were nuts before you had internet.
Anyway, but welcome everyone. It's our personal top 10 2011 films. Most of them. Well, let me just put it this way. One. Oh, few of them. I would agree would be not objectively good. Basically,
mine is stuffed with campy stuff this time.
But I can't. Hold on, I gotta type something up. But all right, so while I get myself mentally situated and Harry Potter can fuck right off, Stieg, let everybody know where they can find you and all that fun stuff.
Here once a month, and sometimes on Teresa's channel. Yeah, and little tiny guest appearances here and there, but rarely. So
there were movies that came out that year that I would be chalked up as big releases, but I don't remember anything of. So there's gonna be movies that probably are on people's lists that aren't on my list, and you're gonna wonder why. It's because I don't remember a damn thing about them. Because the last time I saw them was that year or close to it, so couldn't tell you anything. But it is what it is. These are our subjective lists. Doesn't mean they're objectively good. I can say it for a certain. There's at least a few of them, maybe a bit more on my list that are not objectively good, and I will admit it. But subjectively, I love I love them. I like watching them for whatever reason. So, but before I'm going to make this announcement a bit later on, also in the stream. But normally I would be doing a reading stream tomorrow, but it's because of how long my weeks have been with classes and so forth, basically, that I'm going to take I'm not going to do the reading stream tomorrow. I'm just going to take just a little break and pick up next week with chapter 8. I believe we're on, and I will basically post in the Discord everything that's transpired in terms of suspects' accounts up until this point, so that way you're not going to be trying to remember what each suspect said between now and when I do the reading stream again, which will be next week, not tomorrow. But as it is with basically these top 10 streams, my co-host rolls a d20. I guess the range to see who goes first.
Yeah, and you always guess right.
There's always the possibility that one time I will guess wrong.
Mm-hmm. You've said that over 30 times.
So there's always the one time.
Yep.
And I'm thinking 11 to 20.
11 to 20. 13.
Why can't my gut feeling work every other time? Like with the lottery.
Yeah. The dice have been nice to you on D&D too.
Yeah, at least for just
quite a while.
Yeah. But
especially
anyway.
Since last time it could have gone really bad with that certain gang.
Oh God. If we were to stream that, we'd be going to hell.
Yeah.
Anyway, chat. But okay, so like I said, not every movie on my list is going to necessarily be like a cinematic masterpiece. And the first one, I don't mean to preface that by making it seem like the movie that I'm going to be talking about is a bad movie. It's just probably not going to be on everybody's list. because it's a Christmas movie, and while it's not necessarily my go-to Christmas movie, I find it like charming, a charming premise. And the main character is voiced by James McAvoy, who is all in another movie on my list that came out in 2011. And the movie itself is Arthur Christmas. It's not
Never even heard of it.
Yeah, it's not the most spectacular Christmas movie ever. It's an animated film, but I find find it very charming and basically a pleasant watch. And if it's on, especially around Christmas time, I will sit down and watch it. But basically, the premise is Santa Claus has two sons, all right, and one of which is voiced by James McAvoy, who voices Arthur. And basically, Santa is kind of like handed down as a title because Santa Claus goes by Saint Nicholas typically. So like Santa Claus, that's more of like a hereditary title in this movie. And there are two sons, and it's basically the assumption is the older one is going to get it because he's more on the ball and so forth. Basically, he's seems like he has everything going for him. Where Arthur's the younger brother, and he's kind of awkward. He's very cheerful. He's of the two, he probably is the one that has the more Christmas cheer to him. But what happens is during the process of loading the Santa's bag for delivery on Christmas Eve, a wrapped present, I believe it's a bicycle, or falls off and is left behind. And that basically is starts the premise of the movie, where Arthur refuses to basically no gift left behind, no child left upset on Christmas morning. So he takes it upon himself and one of the elves to go deliver this one present so this child will not be sad waking up on Christmas morning. Arthur is, it's one of those where it's I don't want to say it's not coming of age, but Arthur discovers that he's not just the younger brother. He's not just this. He's not just that. He needs he kind of finds his how do I put this?
Self-discovery.
Well, it's self-discovery, but it's more or less like there's more to him. There's more to him. He's resigning himself that he's not going to he's not going to be the next Santa and things like that, and he's happy about it. He's accepted that and so forth. But there's more to him than he's actually of the two, the one that's is actually destined to be the next Santa. Yeah, there's more than meets the eye to him. There's more than meets the eye. Kind of approach with this character. Like I said, the premise is simple, and the Elfie delivers his presents with, I can't remember who voiced. Hold on, I gotta look it up. Let's see. Does it show? Okay, Ashley Jensen. I have no idea. I'd have to look her up. Just I think she's done she's done any other voice work. But she's the elf that goes along with Arthur to deliver this present, and she's also kind of the screw up, basically, amongst the elves. So it's kind of her almost redemption kind of arc, for her to be to do this, to show that she's not just a screw up. She's not just the one that no matter how hard she tries, somehow misses things up. And like I said, it's a charming Christmas movie. While it's it's not exactly arguably the best Christmas movie out there, like I said, if it's on, I'll watch it. It doesn't try to be anything other than what it is. It doesn't try to those those elevated horror movies where something represents something else, basically, it's trying to make itself seem it's more than just this simple premise. No, it is a simple premise basically. It is this premise where Arthur he wants to deliver this one present so this child will not be upset on Christmas. And so, yeah, I think I'm not saying like you'll like it, Sig, but you might find it like and like I said, a nice watch.
Yeah.
So,
I wouldn't mind.
and the elf that he tags along with has a Scottish accent, so they kind of added that quirk as part of her character.
You know what would be kind of ironic if one
Mhm.
of the elves was gay? Because that elf, instead of wanting to fill Santa's sack, would be wanting to empty it.
Oh no, no, no! Please do not ruin this movie for me. Right. But yeah, so number 10, it's like one of two animated movies on my list, but it's Arthur Christmas. I'd say give it a watch. It's like particularly around, obviously around Christmas time, basically. It's I've seen far worse Christmas movies. Now I think it doesn't get like enough love. So yeah, so that's my number 10, Arthur Christmas. So
Well, my number 10 is Thor, first one,
mhm,
which is objectively not very good, really,
mhm.
but because it's the same plot as Iron Man. The hero gets betrayed,
Yeah,
gets exiled, becomes a better person, and then returns and takes up his role, right?
I remember where I was when I first saw that movie. I was on a plane heading home from deployment, and I fell asleep during it.
Well, it is very entertaining. I thought Chris Hemsworth is excellent in the role. The supporting cast is good. Shit's all over Norse mythology, uh, and I would know because I am Norse. But it's
Mhm.
entertaining anyway. Especially entertaining that Idris Elba plays Heimdall, who is described as the palest of gods,
Yeah,
meaning the rest should have been pretty damn dark. But yeah, it's fun. Directed by Kenneth Branagh, I think. But uh,
yeah, it was directed by because I remember he tried to not make it, but invoke like a very Shakespearean feel to it.
yeah,
Yeah.
um, it's the MCU Phase One is the one I tend to rewatch.
Hmm.
And
Well, at least while the beats were the same, at least the movies felt different.
yeah,
So.
and they kind of had a heart, which went away when the rest of them got designed by a committee, you know, and
Mhm.
checking boxes and whatever. But yeah, Thor. I bet you everyone in there has seen it. You know, yeah,
Yeah.
Trey's right. The movie is very simple,
Yeah.
but it also didn't need to be that complicated either. You know,
No, because like its origin stories really don't need to be overly complicated. They just need
yeah,
to set the hero up.
yeah. But
Yeah.
rewatchable. I'd give it. Objectively, I'd give it a 7 because even though the story is kind of almost too simple, it's still very entertaining. You know.
Yeah. I'm saying I fell asleep not necessarily because the movie itself was boring, but because I had been up for like a long time and I was returning home. So I just remember that was the first time I watched it. And
Yeah.
like I said, I ended up falling asleep during it and waking up. And I think it was like the final fight that happened at the end is when I woke up.
Yeah. Tom Hiddleston nails it as Loki.
He's like for the Thor movies at least, he's the best parts.
Yeah, he
So
is. He's utterly conniving, and
mhm.
it works.
Yes.
But that was my number 10,
Hmm.
Thor.
Yep.
My number 9 is a horror movie.
Hmm.
Might be on your list. I'm not sure. It's Insidious.
Yes, it is on my list. Further up.
Oh, Well, I'll say a few words about it and then let you do the rest when we get that far.
All right.
But it's a horror movie that it's a horror story based on the out of body experiences, right?
Yeah.
That kind of phenomenon, I guess.
Hmm.
I don't know if it really happens or not. There's been a lot of people claiming that they have had it, so you know, interesting.
Yeah.
But how?
Basically, like, taking that premise and adding supernatural twist to it.
Yeah, and it works. It works really well in this movie. And I think without this movie, we wouldn't have had Stranger Things the way it is, because Stranger Things borrows from this big
Stranger
time.
Things borrows from a lot of stuff.
Yeah, but a lot from
Yeah.
this one.
So
Also, if you have a out of body experience, here's the plot hole. Kind of, how do you see when you don't have eyes?
well, it's because sight is more or less um how would I put this? At least in this case, you would have the body reacting, the nervous system reacting in the way that would, like, allow you to, like, see these things, even though you're not there. So because once once you see something, it's it goes through an entire process and then registers of, like, and then it finally registers what you saw. So I'm trying to say, without eyes, I'm guessing probably, like, it's more or less connected with the neurons and such in our occipital lobes. Is what's
Yeah,
being
but when people say that they're hovering above their own body and stuff,
hmm Well, it's like a dreamlike state. So it's like I'm saying it's like, it's one of those things where it's like I'm thinking that the state itself is more a dreamlike state, not necessarily an out of body experience. So and because you know what you look like, you can fill in the blanks basically.
yeah, maybe. Anyway, Insidious has some cool jump scares too, really good ones.
Oh, that jump scare got me. The one jump scare got me. I was watching it in Iraq. A lot of these movies, because I was there for 6 months, a lot of these movies I saw bootleg copies of to keep up with what was being released in the States. And it made me jump because I was watching on my laptop. So
Yeah, it has a couple, but and it started a franchise that perhaps went on too long.
well, yeah, well, definitely from 4 on. The second one, the way the first one ended, the second one made sense. You had to, otherwise you would have left it on the cliffhanger. Third one was a prequel.
Yeah, with was it Lynn Shay?
Yeah.
Yeah, underrated actress. Holy shit, she's good in this series.
Fourth one, I'd have to go back and rewatch. I remember, like, not being a fan of it when it released. Not to say like it was, like, bad, but not necessarily, not thinking it was, like, not the best. Fifth one, fifth one could have been better.
I liked 3, but
they're coming out with a new one.
I thought it went on too long, but people kept paying for them, so naturally the studio will dish out more.
Yeah, so.
But it wasn't ruined either, though.
What?
It wasn't ruined, that series, either.
No. Well, I mean, I don't want to say the fifth one was, when I say it was ruined, I mean, like, I think they, like, ruined the characters. Especially if you're going to bring the original family back. But otherwise, I don't know if I would say I'm looking forward to the next one, Mike. I would need to see like more than just one trailer. So I wouldn't say like I'm hyped for it. Like Red Door wasn't bad. It's just I feel like it could have been better. So I feel like this could have been better. But I would need to go back and watch 4 to see if I would say 4 is the worst so far or what have you. But anyway, so yeah.
Yeah,
I'll talk about it more when I get to it because it's further down on my list.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm thinking we'll have at least another crossover further down too.
Well, possibly. My number 9 is part of a series of movies that's reached a 7th installment recently.
Oh, that's on my list too.
Scream 4.
The 4th one, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not going to talk too much about it.
No, it's fine. Just
well, no, I'm saying like if you haven't seen it, it's like if you've seen the first 3 movies, there's going to be like a little bit of a twist with Ghostface, but I don't want to say too much if you haven't seen it, so I don't ruin who Ghostface is. But yeah, Scream 4. I think it 7 wasn't bad. I don't think it was as bad as people were saying, but it wasn't bad. But I think these movies definitely should have stopped at 4. 4 is a decent spinoff. It's kind of like a what if story. Like what if this, like what if like these events start happening after Sydney has finally moved on. It's connected to her family, blah blah blah, and so forth. That's it, basically. Like a decent what if kind of a story set in Woodsboro.
I actually think this is the second best in the franchise.
I would say it's the third best. Well, I don't know. See, the thing is, like, it's a toss up between this and the third one as far as which one goes in the number 3 spot. I'm of the opinion that Scream should have been a one-off this whole time.
Yeah.
Because Wes Craven's original intention with Scream, the first movie, was for it to be basically a satire of teenage slasher movies. It literally pokes fun at itself during the movie. Like, I'm not saying it wasn't meant to be taken seriously as a horror movie, but at the same time, it's like it's tongue-in-cheek poking fun at itself at the same time.
Yeah, it's kind of like actually Tucker and Dale.
Yeah, so it's like with the rules and everything to survive a horror movie and like the stupid things people do and so forth. It's poking fun at itself during it. And the way the first one ends, like there was no room for interpretation of like any killer or like the killer surviving. So like when the sequel came out, I was like, okay, this is a decent sequel. They pulled it off. Third one was hampered because first off, because it was Columbine happened, I believe, and they dropped it from a rated R down to PG-13.
Yeah,
you don't do a Scream movie PG-13.
And they sidelined Lance Henriksen in it, who's probably the best actor in the movie.
Yeah, so that's why I'm like, it's a toss-up. Like the third one is definitely the weakest of the like trilogy, but it's not as bad as say the fifth one is. I still have yet to watch Scream 6, so I couldn't tell you what that's like.
Was 5 the one where they killed Dewey?
Yes.
Yeah, that one's retarded.
That and spoiler alert for those who have not seen the fifth one. The whole motivation, the whole motivation stems from toxic fandom.
Yeah, and that was during the period where they were killing off popular main characters. Popular male characters.
Yeah. So there's even like without exactly name dropping, Rian Johnson's even brought up. It's like more of a when they're talking about the Stab movies, like because like the director who did Stab 8 or whatever, and it's like, yeah, that's a reference to TLJ.
Yeah.
When they're talking about the fans that didn't like where the franchise went, basically. So definitely the fifth one is the worst of the Scream movies.
Yeah.
So, but the fourth one, getting back to the fourth one, it's real fast. I'm not going to talk too much, basically. Killings start happening again in Woodsboro, and they seem oddly timed with the arrival of Sydney, so that the thought is like, this killer is starting to commit these crimes because the fact that like, Sydney's coming back to town. Sydney has written a book. She's doing kind of like a book tour, and the book tour is taking her back to Woodsboro. And then if you've seen a Scream movie, you know that killings start to happen, and they are creative and can be pretty fucking gory. So, and they're, it's high school students, basically. So
7 actually had quite a bit of gore.
Yeah, so I'm saying it's like, I think probably the criticism I have for two criticisms I have for number 7 is, I think there were times when they relied too much on member berries, on nostalgia with the Scream movies, particularly with the first 3 with Sydney, and maybe 4, basically, but definitely the ones where Sydney was the focus.
Yeah.
And next big one was the reveal. I was like, really? Okay. Yeah, first one was gory. Like I'm saying, like, they are gory. The kills are creative, and they're gory. Like they can be. Like, one kill in Scream 4 was just getting stabbed. That's it. But like that was it. Like nothing. Like like over the top.
Yeah, Scream 7 was like, there was no real build up to the killer. It was just, it's that one.
Yeah, that's like I'm saying. Like, the reveal was bad. It's probably like the biggest criticism I have for that. The reveal was bad. But regardless, Scream 4, I'd say Scream 4 is, if you're going to watch the Scream movies at all, stop at Scream 4.
Yeah.
That's it. It stars Emma Roberts. She's not horrible in it, but she's not the best actress. She's really not the best actress.
Awesome in a TV show called Scream Queens.
Yeah, she's good there, but in this movie, I'm like, is it the direction that she's given, or is like, is it her acting or what? But it's like she's not horrible. She's not shit. She just wasn't the best, I think, for that role.
Yeah. She felt anemic as a villain.
Yeah. So, well, you kind of spoiled it.
Oh, well.
But anyway, so I'm trying to avoid. But anyway, yeah, Scream 4 is my number 9. So if you've seen Scream movies, you basically know the premise. So like, killings happen. Ghostface is the killer. Who's Ghostface? Yeah, and there's a reveal, basically. All right. My next movie is, I would fully admit that it's not objectively good. It is not objectively a good movie. I can't remember if it's from what I remember, it's inspired by a game. I never played the game, but that's all I remember. And it's the movie Priest. I don't know how many of you've seen that.
I think it's based on a graphic novel.
It might also be based on a I think it's like, a comic as well. There's also a game. But basically they take, like, that's based on the comic, but they take that premise and did an adaptation. And it's Priest, starring Paul Bettany. And Carl Urban's in it. Maggie Q, when she was still big. I wouldn't say big. I mean, like, she was like in quite a few movies around this time, and then she kind of quietly disappeared out away from Hollywood.
She got a TV show for a while.
Yeah, I'm saying, like, but then, like, after that, it's like you really didn't see her in much of anything anymore. But basically, the premise is like it's set in an alternate timeline, alternate like universe, basically where humans and vampires have been warring for centuries. And so, as a result, this warrior class was established by the church, hence the priests, and they are vampire hunters. Like they are basically the frontline soldiers in like the vampire war, basically. And Paul Bettany is a priest. He's one like he's in within that sect. Finds out from this sheriff, and who's probably arguably the worst casting in this movie. I'm not even going to try to pronounce this guy's last name, basically, but he was in a few movies back then. Cam Gigante? I don't know. Like you look him up, you look at the movie, you look him up, you'll recognize his face. He's, I would say, like the worst part of this movie. Like I don't think he was a good actor at all. But he's plays the sheriff in the movie, and he comes and like finds Paul Bettany's character to like tell him that Bettany's brother has been mortally wounded by vampires. His sister-in-law has been murdered by the vampires, and his niece, played by Lily Collins, who somehow still finds work, that his niece has been kidnapped by these vampires. And so basically it becomes a rescue mission from that point on. Don't want to say too much because there is a twist. There is a couple twists in terms of like character relations and so forth. Carl Urban plays a character who only goes by the name Black Hat. I don't want to say too much about his character because again, like relationship connections, there's some twists. I don't want to reveal too much of anything. It's not exactly major, but if you haven't seen the movie, I don't want to spoil anything. And he's this vampire who can, if I remember correctly, who can walk in the sun.
Also, the priests can turn their crucifixes into throwing stars.
Oh yeah, they are basically like warriors, like they're fighters.
Yeah.
They're not just like not just vampire hunters. They can fight. That's why they're on the front lines against the vampires. So if you have a problem with vampires, they're the ones you call to deal with the situations, with the weapons and the fighting styles. But Black Cat, if I remember correctly, he's a vampire, but he can walk in the daylight. So it's like there's something like what's going. Basically, it's like the mystery. It's like what's going on. Why can he do this? Like why? Like and what's his goal? What's he trying to accomplish, and so forth. So it becomes like a little bit of a mystery, action, rescue. It's like I think it like flopped at the box office. But I think overall it's not objectively the best vampire movie, but sometimes they don't need to be the best vampire movies in terms like especially if they're based off of a graphic novel. So it's going to be stylized. It's going to be like it's going to like feel otherworldly because it's not in our world. It's literally in an alternate universe. So I'd say give it a watch.
Heck yes, it's fun as it's a fun watch. Shut your brain off.
Yeah. So
it actually, I'd say it's almost pulp.
Yeah. So I'm saying it's like it's like I said, this movie I will admit for anyone comes in the comments and it's like this movie sucks. Yes, it's not objectively good. I'm not saying it like it's objectively good, but it does hit the notes it's supposed to hit subjectively, and I had a good time watching it.
Yeah,
like I say, the one role I would have recast was the actor they got to play the sheriff because I thought he sucked as an actor. I did not buy his relation to Denise at all. But that's just me. That's just me not liking that actor or him casting that role. Otherwise, Paul Bettany does a good job. He's a good actor. First role I ever saw him in was he was walking naked in A Knight's Tale with Heath Ledger. Basically, he played Geoffrey Chaucer. Ever since then, he's delivered. He's a good actor. Maggie Q, she did well in her role and so forth. Carl Urban, I don't think ever the things he's been in have been hit and miss, but he himself is always good.
Yeah.
So
easily the best part of the Doom movie as well.
yeah, but I would say give it a watch. Kind of like turn your brain off. Don't expect a lot. Have fun watching the priests fight the vampires and so forth. And I think you'll have at least a fun time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my number 8.
Yeah. And I'm supposed to do 8 and 7, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Well, we've already done my 8 because that was Scream 4.
Yep. All right.
My number 7 is, I had to put it on because I keep rewatching it. It's an unnecessary sequel.
Mm-hmm.
Pirates of the Caribbean 4.
I have not seen that. I stopped at the third one.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's it doesn't have Will and Elizabeth in it, but Ian McShane joins, and he's very good, and Penelope Cruz. So, spin-off story with it actually is set up at the end of 3, because Jack has the map for the Fountain of Youth. But campy, fun. It's a Pirates of the Caribbean movie, really. Like I said, it's not needed, but once you watch this one, it's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, I just felt like the third was a fitting end, so I'm like,
yeah, kind of like a Priest, really. This one, it's just campy, fun, not too deep or anything. But yeah, if you haven't seen it, I'd say give it a go.
Maybe at some point. It's one of those franchises where it's like maybe I'll go back and watch it, but I have no real burning desire to.
Yeah.
So probably won't, just in all honesty.
Yeah. This one doesn't ruin anything though. 5 was way worse. But this one is just actually you could probably watch it without having seen the first 3.
Okay.
It's that separated.
All right. Well, maybe it's on, on let's say on cable, basically. Might sit down and watch it.
Yeah. Well, it's probably on Disney Plus now.
I think my sister has a Disney Plus account. Like we basically got different streaming services because of our niece. So I think my sister got one, so that way means for putting something on that my niece can watch. So
anyway, that was my number 7.
All right. My number 7 is a comedy. Again, it's probably up there with it's not objectively good, but subjectively I love it. And it stars Cameron Diaz, Jason Segel, Justin Timberlake. Can't remember the one actress's name. Hold on, I gotta look it up real fast. It's Lucy Punch. Why I forgot that name, I don't know. Basically, Lucy Punch. If you don't know Lucy Punch by her name, you would know her from her iconic laugh in Hot Fuzz. So if you know, you know. Basically, so if you know that movie, you know what I'm talking about when I say iconic laugh. But it's Bad Teacher. Lucy Punch, basically. Lucy Punch is one of the actresses in this movie, basically. But Cameron Diaz is the lead, and she is a teacher. She pretty much is. Her ultimate goal in life, basically, is to marry a rich man and not have to work at all, not have to lift a finger, and things like that, basically. So on the last day of school, it begins the movie where it's like the last day of school, and for her, it's her last day working there, pretty much, because she's going to be marrying this rich guy, or that's what she thinks. But he breaks up with her. All right, leaves her pretty much like with nothing, like back to like where she has to teach for a living, and she's, as the title says, like basically she is a bad teacher. Not because she doesn't know the subject or anything. She's an English teacher. Not because she doesn't know the subject, but because she doesn't give a damn.
Really. She's a slob.
Yeah, she doesn't really give it. Like she doesn't really give a damn. Pretty much, like in her mind, and her method of teaching is to basically put a movie on and go to sleep off a hangover while the kids watch a movie. That's it.
Yep. It's actually a good comedy. Because I've actually seen this one, and I liked it.
There you go. Yeah. So I guess it's Jason Segel. He plays the gym teacher. Justin Timberlake plays this new teacher who's hired, and I think it was after came out after Cameron Diaz and Justin Timberlake broke up or whatever. So it's kind of awkward, but Cameron Diaz sets her sights on Justin Timberlake just because he's hot. Never mind that he is, how would I put this? Cheesy? Like, how do I put this? Like, he is so not her type at all. So not her, like, he's like, so not her type at all, but she's going after him because he's hot. He starts dating Lucy Punch's character. And a subplot in this movie is Cameron Diaz's character wanting to get plastic surgery because she thinks her boobs are too small. She thinks she gets bigger boobs, then she'll attract the attention of another rich guy and she won't have to work again. She is that shallow.
Exactly why this movie would never be made today.
Yeah. So, and she starts saving her, saving her money by any means necessary. So, that meant, tutoring the kids, basically, and so forth. And it gets to a point where, what was it was a competition to see which teacher does the best, and this standardized test that happens every year, basically. And when she finds out that there's a cash value prize that a teacher who does the best will receive, that's when she decides that she's actually going to do her job and teach. So the kids are what the fuck? And she's, going through pretty much just about an entire semester's and a half's worth of stuff to get them prepared for this test. And it's a comedy, basically. Yeah, straight-laced. He's very straight-laced as compared to her, Justin Timberlake's character. He is so straight-laced, and I would say borderline and sweet summer child, innocent for this world, basically. But because he's good looking, she goes she sets her sights on him, and it ends with, in a way, her actually finding her calling. So still within the school system, but not as a teacher. Yeah, she actually she's a flawed female character. She's far from perfect. You still love to watch her though. She's far from perfect, but she's very flawed. And like I said, she actually kind of finds herself. So she does have, it's not obvious, but it's there. She does have a little bit of an arc. She does have a little bit of an arc where she kind of basically finds herself where she belongs. Wouldn't fly today, but there it is. So yeah, I might rewatch Bad Teacher at some point. I haven't watched it in a while. I just remember it because it's one of the movies where it's if it's on, I watch it because I like it. Oh, she's definitely an asshole. She's definitely an asshole.
They actually did quite a few very good comedies in the early and mid 2010s.
Yeah. Thank you, Soul. Oh yeah. So, like I said, she is not a good person. At least not overly like she's like not a bad person, but like she's not a saint, nowhere near a saint. But you can't help, in my opinion, you can't help but love watching her in action. Like when she's like, you know, when she like, you know, especially when she starts saving her money for the boob job and so forth, and like how she kind of like, you know, takes advantage of certain things, like not like, you know, like not like, you know, criminally or anything like that, but you know, it's like she's finding ways to kind of extract extra money like from people, so that way she can save up for her plastic surgery.
You know, if she did something criminal, right, to get the boob job
Mm-hmm.
and got arrested, she could use the boob job to bust out.
Anyway, but yeah, bad teacher. You haven't like, all right. I had to look down at my text because yesterday, this is how long it took my mom to notice this. Yesterday, the new TV that my like, you know, I gotta pay my brother back basically, but the new like is basically he bought a new TV for our mom. All right, so we're gonna like, you know, I'm gonna pay him back, you know, pay him back my portion of it, and we set it up. My sister and I set it up yesterday. My mom finally noticed. It only took a little over 24 hours. That's a new TV. Why, you ask? Because she was wondering why the old controller wasn't working.
Oh,
Never mind that the picture itself is a lot clearer. Never mind that the TV itself is a little bit bigger than the old one. No, it took this long because she tried using the old old controller to the last TV and was wondering why isn't it working. So my sister finally told her. That's what my sister was texting her siblings group chat about. So yeah, she finally realized that she has a new TV. Anyway, so we're talking about Bad Teacher. Okay, if you haven't seen it, give it a watch. I think it's like, you know, in my opinion, a good comedy. So that was my number 7. All right. Sorry, I got distracted there. So, okay.
and you're to do 6.
Yeah. 6, I'm not going to talk a lot about because I don't want to potentially spoil anything. Because this movie is does very much have a big twist. Not like mind-blowing kind of a thing, basically, but definitely, like, you know, I can't say a lot about this movie because I can possibly risk spoiling something in it that could potentially spoil the twist, and that is The Perfect Host. Now, it's not sure, like, Sherlock Holmes didn't even make my list. The Perfect Host.
Never seen it.
All right. Yeah, I don't think too many people have. It stars David Hyde Pierce. You probably
Underrated actor.
Yeah, you would know him from the Frasier series.
Yeah.
And how do I summarize this without giving anything away? It's a remake of a short film, and it's like a black comedy psychological thriller rolled into one. All right. And David Hyde Pierce plays the host. That's all I'm going to say about his character. That's all but he does like it's like not necessarily the polar opposites of his character Niles in Frasier, but like at least like this deadpanness to the character, like like from the Niles character, like works with this role. Yeah, I can't really say a lot about this movie. Like I said, there is a twist. So like I said, stars David Hyde Pierce. He is the host, and he's probably only like as far as names, the only name recognition in this movie. So, you should watch it. I'm saying that to Jody as well, but give it a watch. This basically, yeah, I know it's probably the worst in terms of talking about it, but it's one of those movies where it's like I'm starting to think of the plot, and I'm like I start to want to talk about something, and I'm like, yeah, that will give it away. So, A Perfect Host, like I said, it's like a black comedy and a psychological thriller rolled into one with a twist. I keep saying that, I know, but with a twist. That's all I can say about A Perfect Host. The Perfect Host. So, if you can find it streaming anywhere, give it a watch. So, David Hyde Pierce is very good in it. All right, you're number 6.
Yeah, my number 6 is a lot of people call it a remake. It isn't. It also isn't very good. It's decent. It's Conan the Barbarian, starring Jason Momoa. And he is great in it.
Mm-hmm.
As Conan, he's more true to the source material than Arnold was, because the Arnold movies have pretty much nothing to do with Conan except named Conan, right? Hell, even the villain in the first Conan movie is from King Kull, which is a entirely different property. But yeah, Conan the Barbarian. The weak part is the villain and the story. It's lackluster. Even though Stephen Lang is usually a terrific actor, but in this he is not that good. The highlight though is the beginning when you see Conan as a kid, because that 10-year-old kid is freaking badass. It's nuts. He is awesome. And it also starts with Conan being born on the battlefield. You actually see his mom get stabbed in the belly, and the sword almost hits the fetus.
Yep.
So, and that is how Conan is born canonically, on the battlefield. And shit, well, what's her name? She was on Buffy. She's the kind of love interest in this one.
Well, I mean, there's like other female, there's like several female actresses on Buffy, so it's like, but was it Chris Carpenter? Was it Allison Hannigan? Was it?
It was Rachel Nichols.
What should Rachel Nichols play?
On Buffy?
Yeah.
Don't remember. But I think she was in the later seasons. But she and Momoa has great chemistry. It's fun adventure sword and sorcery movie. But as a movie, it's not better than the Arnold movie. It really isn't. It's lacking the soundtrack and everything, but it's still a better Conan movie. So I keep rewatching it. So it goes, right?
Yeah, I'd have to look up Rachel Nichols, because I don't remember her at all being. like associated with Buffy. So
Maybe I'm
hold on, miss.
remembering it wrong then. Mixing her up with someone else. That's possible. I could have sworn she was on Buffy. No, she was not.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm not remembering that name at all.
Yeah, I completely screwed up and made a fool of myself. Soul Assassin is asking if I have any hope for the new Conan movie with Arnold coming back. Cautiously optimistic, but I'm thinking maybe he's too old now because he's about 80. You know?
Yeah, I think he'd be pushing it
Yeah.
a little
So,
bit, pushing it a little bit now. I mean, if he wanted to do like a cameo, like kind of like one of those where it's like with Dolph Lundgren making a cameo appearance in the new He-Man movie, not as
yeah.
like as
Well,
like a character like
Conan
that.
has a set arc, canonically, so that probably Howard did.
Mhm.
And Arnold said they're going to do like an Unforgiven ish Conan movie, but I'm thinking if they kill him off, they ruin the whole thing because Conan's story ends with him sailing off into the West
Mhm.
when he's because he abdicates his throne and sails off into the West to have new adventures on prehistory America, right? So if they kill him off, they just went completely against. It's yeah.
Mhm.
So I don't know, but this one though, I think you'd like it if you like priests. This one's a good double feature to go with priest.
Mhm. All right. So
So yeah, and my number 5 is another campy one. Um, Completely stupid, but it's awesome. It's called Drive Angry with Nicolas Cage and Amber Heard.
Mhm.
And here's the premise. I'll read you the main premise. John Milton escapes from hell after stealing Satan's gun, the God Killer, to kill Jonah King, a satanic cult leader who murdered Milton's daughter and his wife, and plans to ritually sacrifice Milton's infant granddaughter to unleash hell on earth.
Okay,
Yep.
just processing that.
Yep. It's freaking awesome. And William Fitchner is also in it. He's trying to get Nicolas Cage back to hell. He's
Okay.
hunting him.
All
But
right.
it is a damn fun movie. Dark humor, a little bit of slapstick with the kills. Nicolas Cage is awesome. Amber Heard is really good in it too. And he uh, he shoots people while he's shagging waitress, like
Okay.
cheering. She's on him and he's moving around shooting people during, and it's fun. She gets interrogated by the police after figure they want to figure out what's going on, and she's like, "He killed them whilst we was fucking," and she's just crying. Uh, Absolutely
Sounds
worth
no.
a watch. This one's fantastic. It's one of the most campy movies I've seen. Tom Atkins from The Fog and all that. He
Mhm.
is in it, plays a sheriff, and they put up a roadblock right for Nicolas Cage, and he's standing there, and it tells his men that yeah, I'm gonna tell them to step out of the car and put down the gun. But when I say put down your guns, what I really mean is for you guys to open fire and shoot the shit out of them. And then he just stands there and grins. So fun
Yeah.
stuff.
All right.
But it's Nicolas Cage with Satan's gun. I mean,
I'm gonna have to post this clip. It's Nicolas Cage doing, like, he's not doing an interview, but he's like, on stage answering a question, and he was talking about how Charlie Sheen gave him advice one day in handling a read through for a TV series. It's actually pretty funny. So I'm like, yeah, that sounds like something that Charlie Sheen would say.
Nicolas Cage is kind of like every fourth movie he does is really good.
Yeah. Oh, it's for Spider-Man Noir, because it's like, the series has like come out, and he was talking about how he's like never done a read through for TV yet or something, or might well, Spider Noir, Man Noir, or something else. Anyway, but he called Charlie Sheen. He called Charlie Sheen to ask for advice. So anyway, it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trey is saying Amber Heard is really good in this. Yeah, she actually is. She's great in this movie.
Yeah. But okay, so that's your number 5.
Yep, your turn.
Okay, my number 5 is the start of basically like a new trilogy of X-Men movies.
Yeah.
Where I can say the first one is a solid start. The second one I would say is better. And the third one, don't bother.
Yeah, that's my number 3.
Okay, I won't say too much basically, but it's X-Men First Class. It's pretty, it's pretty much the premise of it's when it's not I don't want to say it's an origin of Xavier and Eric Lensher, basically. You see them as younger versions of themselves, but the overall premise is their friendship that forms and trying to figure out a way to, how do I put this? How do I put this without spoiling anything? They need to form a team. At some point they need to form a team because you have this other band of mutants that are committing crimes, basically. And so
I don't think this is a spoiler, though. I mean, it's technically from the 50s and 60s in terms of.
No, I'm just saying I'm trying to I don't want to reveal necessarily too much. Basically, Kevin Bacon is the bad guy in this movie.
Yeah,
he's great in it. Yeah, and he has a connection to, Eric Lensher, Magneto, basically. Don't want to say what that connection is, but it's believable, it's plausible, and Kevin Bacon is really good, basically. So it kind of leads into Magneto becoming Magneto we know by the end of this movie, pretty much.
Kevin Bacon's connection is not a kind of you did not see that coming.
So yeah, there's a Wolverine cameo basically, but they have to form a team basically. So it's kind of like the team they form kind of begins the foundation that would become the Charles Xavier School for the Gifted that we know is basically a school for mutants, kids, teenagers that have that X gene, that special X gene within them, and they have certain abilities and so forth, and it's a means for them to get an education and so forth, as well as a way to be able to reveal the abilities they have without the potential of discrimination, because it's set in the 60s. So it's a time when it basically ties into the social commentary of discrimination and segregation during that time period, basically.
Also, the outfits are closer to the comics because they had outfits like that, similar to that in the original comics.
Yeah. So basically, in so many words, you witness how at least the beginnings of Charles Xavier becoming the Charles Xavier we know Magneto becoming the Magneto we know. You have Jennifer Lawrence as Mystique. You have like Nicholas Hoult as Beast. Obviously younger version of Beast. And you see other mutants that are not exactly showcased extensively, or like as often as I think they should, like Emma Frost, Azrael, and so forth, basically. So I like that you saw different X-Men in this movie, and it did not rely on like the member berry. It's like, this X-Man, or this character, this character. No, it's like these are like like taking characters that we know, and also characters that like if you read the comics you would know, but arguably have been basically shoved aside in the movies. So, and like I said, the premise itself is like it's not overly complicated. Basically, you need to form a team to fight the bad guys. It's basically mutants versus mutants in a sense, and you see the foundation of Charles Xavier School for the Gifted, which we know what that is.
Michael Fassbender steals the show in this, I think.
He's good. He's a very good, young. Well, because you had Sir Ian McKellen in the original X-Men movies, but he's a good younger version of Magneto.
Yeah.
So, and I like James McAvoy as Charles Xavier. I thought he was good. I think he was like better in the second movie. Like this movie, is good, but it plays it safe, which I'm fine with. Basically, it plays it safe with the plot. Basically, it doesn't try to be anything more than what it is. It's like setting the grounds for what's going to happen afterwards.
Solid foundation, though.
Yeah, I'm saying it's when I say it's not overly complicated, I'm not saying that as a negative. It's a good thing, where it's like as compared to like Days of Future Past, which really goes into the weeds when it comes to like the evolution of the characters and so forth, and introduction of new mutants. I remember before I like turn the reins over to, before I go into my number 4, is that when the Flash movie was released, I posted on my old account on X. I posted a clip from Days of Future Past. And I was like, basically just like a comparison of special effects, like how that scene with Quicksilver was so good, showcasing his speed and so forth, and how it was such shit in the Flash movie. And I would get so many comments from retards saying actually their powers were like blah 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 blah, and I'm like, I'm not talking about their powers, you dumb fucks. I'm just talking about the special effects in the fucking scenes. Like how a movie that's from 2014, that iconic kitchen scene in 2014's X-Men Days of Future Past dwarfs a movie made 10 years later, which should have better special effects, or at least on par special effects with the 10-year-old movie.
Yeah.
And they're like, actually, Quicksilver's powers derive from this, whereas Flash's powers. I was so ready to choke a bitch through my monitor with that post. I was like, where am I talking about the powers?
It's like people can't comprehend what's actually being said.
Yeah, I nowhere in my post say anything about their powers. I'm talking about the scene.
Yeah.
That was it. I'm like, you motherfuckers. Anyway, my number four was a straight to like video on demand release. Basically, I would have loved to have seen this in theaters. It did not get a theatrical release. Whatever theatrical release it would have it got was extremely limited. If I were to guess, basically. But so I watched it on streaming with my mom, and we laughed our asses off at this movie. And it's Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
That's my number 4 as well.
All right. So
It's perfect.
Yeah, it's basically takes the slasher premise and turns it on its head, and it's like asks the question, what if it's just a series of misunderstandings? And it fucking works.
Yeah.
Like, what if like the scenario that you think you're witnessing is actually this happening, but you interpret it as this, and so you're like, like it causes you to do this, this, and this. As Tucker and Dale versus Evil. So you got basically the two main characters, Tucker and Dale, right? They're going to this cabin they bought for cheap, basically, like or at least not for cheap, basically, but it's like a rundown cabin, and they're gonna fix it up, and it's going to be their vacation home. And because they don't exactly look normal to these college students who are also on this road trip to to go camping, that's like starts the foundation of their like Alan Tudyk. I can't remember what the actor's name who plays Dale or Tucker. No, Tucker is Alan Tudyk. Dale, I can't remember the actor's name. He was in another movie that's on my list, basically. Right, but it starts from the essentially the stereotyping of these two characters, and it's just it's like because they look like hillbillies, and like just goes from there. So like anything innocent that they do, anything innocent, such as like this one girl falls off this rock, like this ledge, hits her head, and Tucker and Dale pull her out of the water so she doesn't drown, and all they're doing is trying to get the attention of her friends, so that way they can come and get her. But because it looks like they're murdering her, because they're scary. Tyler Labine, thank you. Because of the impression these college students have, they think the hillbillies are attacking her for taking her for nefarious purposes, and it just snowballs from there.
Tyler Labine actually played two different stoners in season 3 of X-Files. Mm-hmm. He's in 2 episodes and plays 2 different stoners, which is kind of funny.
Oh, pretty funny. Yeah. So, but he's very good in here, and it's basically how the first impressions are not always right. Basically, these two are just nice guys. They're just there fixing up their vacation home, but because they don't look normal, don't come off as normal, then you have that impression of there's something wrong with them, something psychologically, almost criminally wrong with them. So, and basically the premise, I don't want to say too much if you haven't seen this movie, but essentially it's taking the slasher genre, turning it on its head, and positing what if it's just a series of misinterpretations. And I'll leave leave it to you because that's your number 4 as well.
No, it's just, if you haven't watched it, get it watched. I actually told Teresa, Miss Martin Muses, to watch it. She was kind of skeptical, and watched it and loved it.
Yeah.
So it's one of those kind of under the radar movies.
Oh yeah, because it's released basically straight to video on demand. So if you didn't know, that it was being released, it's one because I don't remember it all getting a theatrical release. Like I said, if it did, it was extremely limited. So I think it's primarily video on demand release.
It's kind of like it's way better than it has any right to be.
Yeah, my mom was howling. She loved it. Her favorite thing to quote is we've had a doozy of a day.
Yeah, that's a good quote. People should use that one.
So, howdy ho, officer. We've had a doozy of a day.
Yeah.
So, but I love that. I love that movie. So,
and actually great for Halloween.
Oh yeah, well, I think just great all year round. But number 3, which you start. It was like it had like a festival release or something in 2010.
Yeah.
But the official release was 2011 because it was video on demand.
Yeah. Well, my number 4 was Tucker and Dale. My number 3 is X-Men First Class. So I'm done with 3 and 4. Record time.
All right. Well, my number 3 we already talked about was Insidious.
Yep.
So basically, it's again taking out of body experiences and adding a supernatural twist to it, which I think worked. Should have stayed. Well, I mean, maybe a sequel, given on how they ended the first one, but it should have pretty much did not need anything past the second Insidious movie. It wrapped up the story with a nice little bow. Did not need anything past that. So if you haven't seen it, go give it a watch. So number 2. Okay. I love this movie. If I remember correctly, because I've only seen the sequel once, I thought it was kind of shit. But the first movie, very good. Very simple premise. Is what if you had a boss that was just so bad that you wanted it off?
Oh, that one. Awesome movie.
Yeah.
Best character, Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah. So basically, it's horrible bosses. I watched the bootleg copy of it when I was in Iraq, and then saw it in the theater. Actually, a theater on a base when I was redeploying. When I say redeploying, coming back home. So I saw it twice, technically. But I had to watch it the bootleg version the first time because of where I was stationed. Stars Jason Bateman, Jason Sudeikis, and Charlie Day. Basically, all 3 are friends, and all 3 have horrible bosses to one degree or another. Jason Bateman works for what's the company he works at? Anyway, his boss is Kevin Spacey. I don't think I need to say too much about Kevin Spacey, basically, but again, his boss is horrible. leads Jason Bateman's character on the entire that Bateman's going to get this promotion. All right, and then pulls the rug out from underneath Bateman's character and doesn't give anybody the promotion and and Spacey's character just expands his office, so he takes on the title like 2 roles, like 2 titles basically at that company. He's basically an ass. He's a greedy ass. All right, Jason Sudeikis, I can't remember what company he necessarily works for, but his boss, the first boss, is actually a really good boss, played by Donald Sutherland. All right, whose son is the horrible boss, played by Colin Firth. Sutherland's character passes away, and so because Colin Firth is the son, he takes over for the company, and he basically is essentially a psychopathic drug addict. Doesn't give a shit. It's like he's just doing it just because it's a means of making money so that way he can buy drugs and do stupid shit. Charlie Day is probably the running gag with this character is that he was arrested and put on a sex offender list all because he was caught pissing against a building that happened to be next to a park. So the job he took is the only one that essentially would hire him, and that's as a dental assistant. And he's working for Jennifer Aniston's character, who sexually harasses him. Pretty much. So she's of the bosses, probably the most tame of the bosses. But she's his horrible boss, and you have the other 2. So you have this premise where they want to off their bosses, but they don't know how to do it. They don't know what to do. So they find Jamie Foxx's character, who basically tells them to kill each other's bosses, so that way it can't be tied back to each of them. It's essentially the premise of Strangers on a Train. So hey, Ms. Martin Muses. All right, so basically, Charlie Day's going to like take out Jason Bateman's boss. Sudeikis' character is going to take out Day's boss, and so forth, basically. And then something kind of goes wrong and right at the same time, but like more wrong than right, because one of the bosses is killed, not by the three, and it starts this little avalanche of like, holy shit, now, like, it's like, like, what are we gonna do? Yeah, it's simple. It's simple. It's a simple premise, and it's one of the best comedies, especially recently, that I've seen. I don't think you need to watch the sequel at all. I think a sequel is unnecessary.
It's still not bad though.
No, but it's not, in comparison to the first movie. It's like, I was like not impressed with it. But yeah, Horrible Bosses. So if you want to watch it, Trey, go ahead. I was not impressed with it. So
I liked it, but it wasn't as good as the first one.
Yeah, I saw it once.
I'd have to go back and watch it. Still great in the sequel.
She was pretty, other than like the three main characters, she was like really probably the only good parts. Other good parts.
Yeah.
In the sequel. But anyway, that's my number 2, Horrible Bosses.
Yeah. My number 2 is a comedy as well.
Mm-hmm.
Deliberately juvenile. It's a movie called Your Highness, starring Danny McBride, James Franco, Natalie Portman, Charles Dance, and Damian Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
It is the director made this movie as a homage to his 11-year-old self playing D&D. So it's basically a stoner D&D movie, and ad-libbing and improvisation was heavily encouraged on the set. You can tell, especially when you watch the bloopers. Charles Dance is the king. Danny McBride plays James Franco's younger brother. So think about that one for a bit. Franco is like the hero type prince, right? Everyone likes him.
Yeah.
Danny McBride is smoking weed and has no prospects, and he's utterly selfish and most likely stupid. Zoe Deschanel is supposed to marry James Franco. She gets kidnapped by a wizard who wants to use her he's gonna fuck her to turn himself into a dragon. And his 3 witch mothers encourages it. So James Franco and Danny McBride ride out to try and stop him. The event is called The Fuckening. Really creative. They're there to stop the fucking. They team up with Natalie Portman, who is a psychotic female warrior. It basically plays like a really shit stereotypical D&D session written by 11-year-olds on weed. It's fantastically dumb. You play D&D, you're gonna have a kick out of this one, because every decision that Danny McBride makes you could see it's almost like an 11-year-old shithead making those decisions. They at one point they kill a minotaur, and they go, yeah, let's take the horn as a trophy. And no, let's take something else as a trophy from his body and make a necklace out of it. And they do.
I can guess what it is.
Yeah. So hell, you'd love this one, I think.
I'll give it a watch at some point, but I don't make any promises that'll be anytime soon.
They even have a little Muppet, the Yoda-ish thing that most likely has molested James Franco at one point.
All right.
Heavily implied. But yeah. Anyway, Your Highness, so rewatchable. It's utterly freaking stupid,
Mm-hmm.
but it's fun.
All right. Okay. And number one.
My number one is a not so fun one, but it's freaking awesome. It's Ironclad. It's
Okay.
a historical action drama starring James Purefoy, Brian Cox, Kate Mara, Paul Giamatti is in it, the Viking guy from 13th Warrior. Mackenzie Crook and Jason Fleming is in it. Derek Jacobi and Charles Dance again. Um, it's um, it's about the a handful of knights and warriors protecting Rochester Castle
Mm-hmm.
from Prince John, who wants to stop the Magna Carta from happening. So it's basically a siege movie where Prince John, played by Paul Giamatti, who is nuts in this one, he's freaking awesome, has a Viking army
Mm-hmm.
that he is using to take the castle. James Purefoy plays a Templar who's the leader of them, and insanely good battle scenes, including someone getting split in half by a claymore. It looks completely real. So it's heavy metal. This one, really brutal, gritty. The acting is top notch. Um, Again, if you haven't seen it, you might like it. So it's kind of a bit about isolation as well, because they're isolated in that little keep. So, but and they lose more and more ground, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
the more they manage to fend them off, the more crazy Paul Giamatti gets. But terrific acting, well made, um, very violent. Yes, Trey Courtney mentioned that. So probably an 8 out of 10, I'd say.
I'm just trying to, like, before I forget to touch on this, thank you for being a member for 54 months. My preacher this past Sunday compared a story from Genesis to The Hobbit, and Gandalf is God in the movie.
No,
What story? Because I'm failing to see there's what story in Genesis to the hobbits, and Gandalf is not a god. I mean, he's a Christ-like figure, but
it's more of
he's not.
more of an angel.
I'm saying, but I'm saying, when I say Christ-like, I mean, when you look at his character's resurrection, basically. But in terms of actual lore, he's an angel. He's a Maiar. He's a spirit, not God. Like, how? Okay, I'm just like, oh my god, how? I just need to
You
know
would have
how.
understood it if
Why?
he had compared Genesis to early Silmarillion chapters.
Well, yeah, because literally, the Melkor's fall from grace reads like Lucifer's fall from grace.
Yeah.
Like, if you were to do that, then yeah, that would make sense, because that, the war in heaven in Genesis, basically, or at least when it's mentioned in the Bible, it's reads the Silmarillion part. That part reads like that in Silmarillion.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I'm saying not God, not God, because there is God in in actual Middle Earth lore, and that's Iluvatar, not Gandalf.
Yeah. And
That
you know
just
what
did
else?
my head in. That just did my head in.
Most people in Middle Earth don't even know about Iluvatar.
I know. I'm saying, like, unless you were Numenorian who traveled from Numenor to Middle Earth, yeah, they don't know because the faithful Numenorians, led by Elendil and so forth, they knew about the Valar and Iluvatar. But if you lived on I would say the mainland, basically with Middle Earth, yeah, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't really know. Like most, would not have known.
Yeah,
But that did my head in. That actually did my head in.
Tolkien actually deliberately avoided putting religious things in the world of Middle Earth, right? There's no temples and stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, that did my head in. Anyway, my number one is so I don't go on a side rant talking about actual Tolkien lore.
Focus, Mara.
And need to focus is the first in a series of basically in a way prequels to an earlier franchise, basically, and that is Rise of the Planet of the Apes, which I think is the best of the trilogy.
I've actually never seen anything in that franchise.
Really, not even the original Planet of the Apes.
Nope. Never watched it.
Anyway, that just shocks me. Anyway, but the current trilogy, basically, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and War of the Planet of the Apes, basically. Is that the first three? So I know Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is the most recent one. In my opinion, you do not need to watch that. But these three basically were the start of acting as the precursor to what becomes Planet of the Apes.
Also, a disclaimer. This is not to be confused with Playmate of the Apes.
Okay, no, can I focus? Rise of the Planet of the Apes stars James Franco. It also stars John Lithgow, Andy Serkis. Politics aside, he does very well with motion capture, and he did the motion capture for Caesar, the ape. And Tyler Labine, who's played Dale in Tucker and Dale vs. Evil, he has a small role in this as well, basically. And basically, James Franco works at this pharmaceutical company, like this lab, and he's trying to find a cure for Alzheimer's because his father, played by John Lithgow, has that condition. So Franco's goal is to find this cure, right? And because it's a lab, even though I don't entirely agree with this, and doing anything like this, they experiment on animals. And when they go to take this one female ape out of her cage to demonstrate the effects of this drug and how they've progressed, she goes berserk, starts to she doesn't necessarily attack anyone, but she goes berserk, she goes crazy and so forth. Then tragically she has to be put down because she it looks like she's something is gone wrong with her mentally. And they discover that no, there wasn't something wrong with her mentally or anything like that. She had given birth and she was very much in protective mode. So when they opened her cage and they were she thought that they were going after her baby. And so that's why she started going after the scientists and so forth. Basically, she was protecting her baby. Which the baby, who's named Caesar, is taken home by James Franco and so forth, and it's revealed, all right, as the plot progresses, that this ape is actually very, very smart. And the reason why he's very, very smart is because the drugs that his mother had been given had made their way into the reproductive organs, basically. So he inherited the effects of that drug, and which again makes someone lucid, makes someone intelligent, and so forth, because they were to combat Alzheimer's. So Caesar is incredibly intelligent. He's able to learn quickly. He's able to learn sign language and so forth. But as the plot progresses, because Caesar, when I say he attacked someone, but when he attacked someone, he did it so because he thought Lithgow's character was getting attacked. But because he's an ape and not exactly a domestic pet, Franco had to give him up to this is what should have been a sanctuary, but it's not a sanctuary at all, basically. And essentially it's basically, like I said, it's literally in the name, Rise of the Planet of the Apes. It is the foundation that begins the events that become the Planet of the Apes. And I like Rise of the Planet of the Apes. I like the plot in this better than the original story. When I say original story, I mean like the book that Planet of the Apes is based on, because my dad was telling me about this. I didn't read the book, but he had read the book. And he said in the original story, apes became smart because they had become they had been taken in as pets. So apes began learning from people and becoming smart that way and so forth. And as a result, human population started declining, right? Not just in physical numbers, but in intellect. And the apes started rising. All right, I'm saying this is the gist of the plot. I believe there's more to it, but essentially that's what begins. That's the reason given for why the apes are in control and not the humans. We're in this movie, right? It does give a more plausible reason of why the human population dwindles drastically to the point where it's like they are population-wise outnumbered by the apes. I don't want to say what it is, but I'll say that it's a lot more fucking plausible than the premise in the book. And because of the drugs making Caesar smart, he figures out a way to talk. So, the whole meme, apes together strong, basically, we've seen, as the films progress. But I think, this is the best of the trilogy, because you have the original trilogy of current films, because you have Rise of the Planet of the Apes, and you have Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, which is not bad. It's good. But I think it's a little bit of a step down from the first movie. And then War of the Planet of the Apes, I think it's the weakest of the three. It's not horrible, by any stretch. It's not shit. It's just for me personally, it's a steady decline for those three. And then Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which is god awful. When I say weakest, I mean of the three. If you took those as a trilogy and how they were as a trilogy before Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes was announced and made, as a trilogy, War is the weakest. But if you include Kingdom is by far the weakest. It is complete shit. So, how you manage that, I have no idea. But there it is. So, Rise of the Planet of the Apes is my number one for 2011. So, that's it. But there it is, chat. That's our personal top 10 2011 movies. Next month will be 2012. And before I give my outro, Steve, let everybody know where they can find you and all that fun stuff.
Here in a month. And Teresa and I will be doing another one of our Western streams, and where we watch a movie and then we talk about it and review it. The next one we're doing is soonish, and we're going to be talking about The Revenant with DiCaprio.
Okay.
So we tend to do one older one and then a more modern one next time, right? So it's a more modern one this time, which should be fun. Everyone likes Westerns.
I would agree with this statement in part. Yes, Andy Serkis was not involved in Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, but at the same time, it's with the first three movies, even though Andy Serkis was the focus playing Caesar, you still cared about the other characters, and that included the other ape characters. You cared about the human characters. You cared about the ape characters and so forth, basically. But there's such a time jump from the third movie to the fourth movie in the timeline that you're introduced to all these new characters that you're not that like you're told essentially to like them. You're not shown why you should like them, essentially.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense, basically.
No,
So
it breaks the show don't tell rule.
it kind of does. So it's like, so whereas like the first three, you Caesar is the focus, yeah, but like you grew to care about the characters because and so forth because they were close together in the timeline. So if even if it's an ape character, like you cared about that character. Yeah, I don't remember his name either. Like the main ape character in the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes was that fucking boring. I can't even remember what his name was. He had no charisma whatsoever. It's like motion capture. It's more like just voice and stuff. You don't see the actor, but at the same time, it's like he's still emoting through this ape. I don't remember what his name was, but you remember Koba? Yeah, he was like a evil son of a bitch, but he was memorable. So, but I couldn't tell you the main ape's name. I couldn't even tell you the bad ape's name in the new movie. He had more charisma, I'll give him that. But I couldn't tell you what his name is. He called himself Caesar, but he wasn't Caesar. Or he likened himself to Caesar, but he wasn't Caesar. So that's all I remember. Anyway, but like I said earlier in the stream chat, normally I would be doing a reading stream tomorrow, but because I do need to decompress from it is quite a bit doing a course load of assignments and so forth during the week, especially for classes like basic medical terminology and anatomy and physiology, that I do need to decompress the rest of the week. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to compile a summation of all the accounts so far, for the chapters that we read, basically 6 and 7. So that way, it's by the time I come back next week to read chapter 8, you'll have the breakdown of what each suspect said. So you can so this suspect said this suspect said that, and start gathering up the clues. See if you can figure out who done it and how. All right. So and no streams for the rest of this week. Even if I did not need to decompress, I would not be able to do any streams this week, the rest of this week, period. Well, I don't think it was a bot. I think someone's account might have been hacked. I think I kicked the account. Because I didn't want to ban it necessarily without giving the person time to figure it out if that's what's going on, because I recognize the name on the account. I've seen that name and YouTube chats and so forth. So I by name I know the individual. I think that person was hacked, so I kicked him from the Discord. But that's what was going. That's what looked like what was going on in my Discord. And no watch party Saturday. I will be unable to do that as well. So yeah, this weekend is pretty much out for me as far as doing anything with my schedule and so forth. So, but there it is. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, have a good rest of your day or evening wherever you are in the world, and I will see you all next Sunday. Next Sunday for Talk Nerdy to Us on my channel. So take care. Take care, everyone. Stay safe. Have a good rest of your day or evening, wherever you are in the world. And peace.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.